Judah Jones, Spectrum Channel 4, and today I am here with Ripley's Village Administrator, Wayne Gates. Thank you, Mr. Gates, for taking the time to meet with us.
Happy to do it.
So my first question is, from what we understand, Ripley received a grant to build a new boat dock. What can you tell us about that?
Well, there was actually 4 sources of funding for the boat dock. We have approximately $3 million that is coming to us from various sources. We're getting $1.2 million from the Ohio Department of Wildlife and the ODNR, Department of Natural Resources. That's $1.2 million. We're getting $865,000 from the Appalachian Regional Commission, which is a federal agency. We're getting almost $500,000 from the Ohio legislature, and we have $50,000 from local funds that have been contributed as well. And we are hoping to get another $500,000 additionally from the Appalachian Regional Commission that will go toward building a 200-foot dock here on the river, including an access road coming down here from the side. We also have an additional $1 million request in for the current Ohio legislature to give us an opportunity to pay for any cost overruns that we have, to do some development downtown, and to discuss rehabbing this section of the Ohio River on the Ripley side as well. So we have a lot going on, a lot of money in the pot, so to speak, and we're excited to be moving forward.
Right now, it's pretty obvious that we're in the early stages of this process of building the boat dock. Where are we, if you can look at a timeline and tell us where are we right now, and what do we hope to accomplish with the whole
We are at
project?
the very beginning of the timeline. The final piece of the funding puzzle from the Appalachian Regional Commission only came in the 3rd week of March. So we are not quite 2 months into the process. So the way that this process is going to work from here is we have to follow both the federal and state procurement processes, because there are multiple sources of money, and each time that you get a grant, you have to report back to the folks that gave you that grant to let them know that all of their rules are being followed and that you're on the timeline that they have agreed to. So at this point, the next step is to procure a project manager, someone to design the project, someone to oversee the construction, because we can't do that at the village level. We can't take on a $3 million project with multiple subcontractors and that sort of thing. So we have hired out talent to oversee the project. Douglas McDonald, the former CEO of the Cincinnati Museum Center and the Alamo in San Antonio, is working with us to oversee the project. And once we select a construction firm, a design firm, then the design process will begin. And simultaneous with the design process is the permitting process. We have to deal with the Army Corps of Engineers to make sure we're complying with everything on the river. We have to do environmental studies, both from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and for the federal government. And we have to essentially go through all of the due diligence that's required to comply with all of the federal and state regulations. So the short answer to that question is we're going to be doing the permitting and design process probably for the rest of this year. We expect construction to begin in early 2023, and we expect the dock to be open for use in the beginning of recreation season in 2024, approximately 2 years from now.
Amazing. This is obviously a very major project. It could bring a large tourist boom to Ripley. How, in your words, would you say this project affects the community?
Well, we expect that we're going to get a benefit from the dock in a number of ways. First, the direct benefit that we expect is that if we have recreational users on the river, people that are literally coming up and down the river that may not have stopped in Ripley before, they will look over here and they will see this huge 200-foot dock where they will be able to tie up and perhaps get fuel or groceries or something like that. So once we get them off the dock, our next step in the process is to give them a reason to walk up the hill and walk downtown, maybe do some shopping, get interested in historical tourism. So we plan on putting kiosks up to at the top here, where if someone were to get off of there and start to look around, essentially, welcome to Ripley. And we have the Rankin House here, we have the Parker House, we have an Underground Railroad history. By the way, 15 minutes up the road is Georgetown, where U.S. Grant lived. Serpent Mound is over this way in Adams County. Point Pleasant's over this way in Clermont County, because we are trying to work with other counties and other communities for a regional tourism strategy rather than just trying to focus on what is literally within the village limits, because everybody benefits from everybody else's attention, because marketing and promotion is probably the biggest issue that we have at this point in calling people's attention to the fact of what we offer here in Ripley. And our strategy is, if we can get them here once, they'll come back. But we just have to figure out how to get them here initially, and the dock will play a big part of that.
Yeah, of course. You know, I think I already touched on this a little bit, but aside from the 200-foot dock, what projects will be happening around the dock and around Ripley in general? What kind of extensions are there?
Well, as I said, we've requested an additional $1 million from the state legislature to work on this area of the riverbank, to perhaps build like a wall along there so that it looks uniform and looks clean. We hope that we are going to get some private investment and private development up in the downtown area, because once foot traffic builds and once interest builds, we expect that once that first development domino falls and people see that there's activity, there's money being spent, then perhaps they will decide that they'll spend their own money. And our hope and goal is that in 5 or 10 years, Ripley will become a recreation hub, not only locally but regionally, where people will be able to come and find lodging, they can find food, they can find shopping, antique stores. And the ultimate goal is to merge our historical tourism and our recreational tourism and have those separate groups sort of merge together and be interested in the other things that the village has to offer.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely an accomplishable goal. You kind of gave us that timeline about all the progress, and I think that's definitely something that we're going to have to keep up on. So stay tuned. Thank you, Mr. Gates, for speaking with us today
You're
about the
certainly
dock
welcome.
project. For Spectrum Channel 4, I'm Judah Jones.